Good morning,
You
gentlemen.
also changed the QR codes.
No, the QR codes are right because I assigned them
Okay.
to the name actually, not to the to
Okay.
what I saw on the screen. So,
That's good.
and you're so fortunate because Matthias was so much on time. You have actually 2 minutes more than the rest of the competition right now. So, so that is super nice for the audience and also for Christoph and Robert. The QR code I will remove on off during the session. This is just a QR code linking to your LinkedIn profile. So people can get in touch with you. So we will remove so we can see your pretty faces and of course the Dataline logo. So before we get started, we have a little chat here. So I think I know you, Robert, but I don't think I know Christoph. So Christoph, who are you and what do you do with Dataline?
So, what do I do at Dataline? I think I'm this year 23 years at Dataline. So that's
Only.
I'm part of the furniture. Uh, and did I do in these 23 years? I was, I think, over 15 years a project manager, and I installed over 200 projects with Multipress. And then, as the company was getting bigger, we really needed more structure in getting all those questions towards the software. And then I jumped into product management, and the last 6 years I'm the product director of Multipress. So I try to find a common interest in the many questions that we get every day.
Fantastic. And Robert, can you also introduce you as swiftly as Christoph just did?
Yes, I can. I'm 6 years at Dataline, but before that, I was 30 years over another MAS vendor in the Netherlands. So I didn't come from the industry. I studied business economics and came into the industry. I think it's a privilege to do that because then you look more at processes than on the purely digital or the printing stuff. And so it's the only thing I can do. I've always been in this MIS ERP business for the printing industry. So and I really love it. So it's good.
And we lost Christoph for a second. I think he will log on
Yes.
again in a second here. So I just keep him. I keep him as a ghost until he. So now he
That's
comes
good.
in
That's
here.
good.
So let's just see here. That is.
I
You're
was
back
thrown
again.
out. Is that was
You
that
did.
my mistake?
I think so. But you didn't want to participate anymore. You just said that okay, part of the furniture. Then you're out.
Not at all, because no. Okay, sorry for that.
No worries. Robert, I can't help think about. I mean, with the experience you have from both Dataline and also from the previous company. I mean, how big a difference is it between those two companies when it comes to the MIS part? Is it a huge difference, you think?
Yes, it's a huge difference because the other one was, let's say, a basic product, and it was every version was different with every customer. So there
Oh,
was a lot of tailor-made work in there. So of course, it feels very good for customers, but it's for development and it's a crime, and also for support. So it's not the thing you want to go to.
is that something? I mean, because I think that if you look at computer and software development in general, I think there is fortunately, a very nice, let's say, trend toward having more and more standardized software and solutions, as you say, for the development perspective, but also for the support perspective. Is that a trend that you also see in with Multipress and Dataline? How you have your customers, that you have like more like a uniform kind of base for how you serve your customers?
Actually, we just got one version, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. We
So
try to
that
keep
that
that also. Sorry.
Yeah.
We try.
no, you
We
go.
try. We try to be very consistently in that, and it's true that it is sometimes not easy to only create one version, but that is the goal. And I think on a long term, it's the only thing that will work. You have to be as much as possible to serve as much customers as possible with one consistent version, where it's also very clear for all the other services, whether it's sales or support, that this feature works like that.
It makes sense, and as you have been with Dataline for so many years now, I think that you probably more than most of us understand that the development of how software becomes, let's say, more accessible, more user friendly, still more capable of doing a lot of things, because I think the requirements from customers are not they're not getting smaller, right?
That's true. The questions are becoming more and more complex, and it is it is a huge challenge to put this in simple procedures, but that's our job.
Fantastic. You are out of Belgium, right, Robert?
No, I'm in the Netherlands now. I'm located in the Netherlands, and Christoph is located in Belgium.
Okay, but the
And
company.
our headquarters is in Bruges, in Belgium. Yes,
Yeah.
I've got a slide on that one, and we have an office in the Netherlands, one in Germany, and one in France. And I think if you look at the company, most of the company and all our back office and marketing and a lot of development support is in Bruges, but also development and support with here in the Netherlands. And I probably do a lot of not only the Netherlands but also the Nordics and the Baltics.
And one of the reasons I was asking was because I think that when I look at I mean, we have known each other for some years now because you have been part of our webinars before, and I think that I think the first time was during the COVID basically, and then we have met each other at some trade shows, both in the Benelux area and also in France, in Lyon. It seems that Dataline has a Christoph, he doesn't want to be part of this today.
No.
What's wrong with that guy? Or maybe it is my solution, but I don't think so it is. But I was just thinking because, okay, I just let him in again here.
I don't know what's wrong, but
you're not an easy guy, I must say.
Is it something with? I'm in the Safari browser. Perhaps that's the issue.
You should use Chrome. Chrome is the best one to use, I think.
Okay, I will change to Chrome then. Sorry for that.
Perfect. No. So what I wanted to say basically, Robert, was that it seems that since the COVID, and maybe you did that before, but it's just new to me. But it seems that you are having a big faith and trust in your product, because it seems that you're developing into new markets and try to become less a Benelux supplier but a European supplier of.
You're really right. Yes, that's correct. Actually, it started at 2016 when we first participated in Drupa. That was actually our kickoff for going into the rest of Europe. And what we see is we grow enormously. We'll see on one of our slides, we show our turnover from the Benelux part to the INKISH part is growing the last 3 or 4 years. So really focus on growing in these other geographical markets because we need to, because software development is a very costly business. So if you want to grow, you not only need to grow within the market itself by broadening your product to different production types, but also in the different countries. And actually, for now, we're focusing on Europe. But I will see that we will also grow outside of Europe within 5 years. But for now, we focus mostly on Europe, but not only by direct sales, but also using partners there.
It's because the first session we had today was with Matthias from Omika in Sweden, and also they have also been part of these webinars before. They have also seen like this international growth, and I was just wondering, is it because you basically serve, let's say, different kind of niches, that there is a need for having, let's say, international presence for companies, or is it more because you focus? I mean, what I'm trying to understand here is that why is there such a need for having this growth? Because I mean, it must also be challenges in different languages, in different regulations, and all these kind of things. So I was just wondering why. I mean, obviously because you want to grow, but the challenge is worse the benefit. I take that you have already taken that into considerations, right, Robert?
That's right. But if you want to grow, as I just said to you, because we want to keep up our development, even broaden it more, so we need money to come in for that. It's just easy as that, and then you need more licenses and more service contracts on it. So if you need to grow, and that you can't only do in the Benelux, because as in all countries in Europe, we all see that the business is declining, especially if you look at the offset and small digital market. But of course, it's also not only we focus on the international part, but also on a large format and sign market, because we see there a huge growth. If I only look at the Netherlands, then 12 years ago, there were 3,500 companies having an offset press inside. And I think nowadays we are under 300. So it's a tenth of what it was. Yeah. But if you look at how many, just only in the Netherlands, we have about 3,000 companies having something of a device doing large format and sign, from very small companies to, of course, larger ones.
Yeah. Okay, so that obviously makes sense that to get the funding for further development, you need to have, of course, as much revenue and as many customers as possible. And I take the challenges from a PSP perspective are pretty much the same, whether it's in France or in Germany or in the Netherlands, right?
That's right. Yes. And what we see there, of course, is of course the language. So
Yeah.
as you just heard from Omika, but also with us, we are in 25 countries and we have 13 languages at the moment. And I think for the end of this year, there will be 3 more coming there, 3 other languages there, because we know that in a lot of countries, especially more in the southern part of Europe and the central eastern part of Europe, that they really want to have the application within their own language.
And as far as I remember, you exhibit at CPrint in Madrid, right?
Yes.
And we will be there, so I'm pretty sure that we will come and say hi to you in
You-
Spanish. So prepare
You will
yourself.
not see me there because I will be on your part of the country, on the globe. So I'll be doing the print and sign Scandinavia in Stockholm.
Fantastic. So, but one way or another, it seems that we will probably run into each other also in person during the next period. So,
Yes,
great.
certainly will.
Guys, I want to leave the stage for you so you can present what it is you're selling, so you can convince more people, so we can get more development, so we for the next webinar have even more new features to to see. So, how does that sound to you? Is that good?
Sounds good. Yes.
So bring on the screen,
I will
and I will
share
remove
my
myself
screen.
from the call. I just need to do that first before I get out of here. So here we are.
So here we are. Okay. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. As just been introduced by Morten, my name is Robert. I'm doing this presentation together with Christoph Krohn, our product director. And I will start telling you something about Dataline and Multipress, something already came across in the short interview with Morten. And then for the real stuff, Christoph will guide you through the system and do a demo of the system, calculating a few products and also making it to a job and the rest of the product. So I hope you have a good time, and I'll start with this introduction. As I just said, we are growing as a company, as you can see over here. In 2017, our turnover was 4 million euros, and we're aiming at 12 million of going over 10 next year. So really grow. You also see here in the growth of our turnover, it's not only in the Benelux, which is our home market, but also in the other markets internationally. So that's really a growth there. As just said, 25 countries. We have over 1,000 companies working with Multipress, and we have over 10,000 users daily using Multipress in this. And we have also have a lot of channel partners. Show you another sheet in a moment. And here you see the area we operate right now. And as just said, I think that will grow in the near future. Of course, if you grow as a company, you also grow into employees. So you see here that we also grow into employees, and most of the growth there is in development and in project management and consultancy. Just told you already that we have some offices. Our head office is in Bruges. It's a white building you see in the large picture here in Belgium. Christoph is located over there. We have offices in Limmen, in the Netherlands. This is near Alkmaar, near Amsterdam, where I'm located. We also have a sales office in Paris and one in Germany. Beside of that, we, as you said, because we are growing in this market, we have a lot of partners to help us to make sure that we can grow. You can see here the partners. We have nice equipment in the Nordics and also in the Baltics. We have Baumann Group in Germany. We have Interguard in Poland. We have Graphical Network in the Adriatic region and Cian in Spain. And these partnerships will grow in the near future. We're already talking to other different companies. And I think before Drupa next year, we will have 3 or 4 more partners helping us to grow in this market, because we really see that, especially not only for sales but also in the future for support. The different companies in different countries would like to have support in their own language. And of course, it's impossible for us to speak all these languages that are going through over Europe. If we look at Dataline, Christoph just said he's there for 23 years. So we just missed the first 2 years, because this year we exist 25 years. And if you look at the timeline, it was founded in 1997 by our CEO, Dirk de Roo. Then we have a growth in Belgium and the Netherlands. We took over TNR Software which actually was the company that started developing Multipress in the future. We started expansion in Europe, and I just said also in the interview with Morten, maybe if you've heard that 2016 was our first step onto the growth into Europe. So we participated in Drupa there, as well as we're going to participate in Drupa 2024, of course. And from there on, we see that the growth in going to other countries than the Benelux is more and more over the years. In 2020, we took over a MIS supplier in the Netherlands, Insat, and we had our first, and of course we're very proud of that, our first EDP award, which was followed up in the coming years after that with 3 other ones. Really proud of these EDP awards because that really shows that not only we think that we have very good software and we are very innovative in software, but also an independent jury thinks that we do a good job in, for example, the installation app, the e-calculator, and also the MIS, the MAS, and the multi-flow things. We also had a Transgazellen, which is an award in the Benelux for companies that grow very fast. And as said, we are existing 25 years this year and going on for the next 25 years. I think Christoph and I will not meet all the 25 years coming, but a lot of them we will support together. Here's Dirk Rob, our CEO, and you see our strategy over here. I think what we see, and I think also if you're a printing company and looking into this session, you will see that this is what you're facing at normally in a day-to-day business. It's transforming to a high-performance workflow with a lot of existing growth in your companies, but also clients who get more and more demanding. And for us, it's important that we want to consolidate the printing industry in Europe because Europe is our base network where we are in. So we don't want to go out of Europe to China or whatever, but stay in Europe. So we know that if we want the printing companies to be there, not only now, but also in 5 to 10 years, we need to help you with software solutions that optimize your business processes because that is really very important in this. Now, if we look at our main product, which is Multipress, we have, let's say, 14 steps in Multipress. We start in the left top and then go to the bottom on the left side. And it's a complete system, modular of setup. And we have a CRM, of course. We can make a calculation, send a quote to the customer, do the follow-up on that one as well. It's also very important. It can also be automated follow-up. We have tools for that as well. We can do pre-writing already very soon in the process because what we see and what we all know in different industry things we saw is that it takes a lot of time before you get the print-ready file. So we can do pre-writing and then we integrate it in an OEM version of Carl's PDF Toolbox within Multipress. Of course, we get a job, get the order, send the confirmation to the customer, go to Seven where we see workflow, and there you see, of course, that we have our own imposition tools, which can also connect to all different kinds of tools that are in the market. If you saw the presentation of Matthias Homika, he also said it's very important that you can connect. So that's also what we believe in, that we connect into the workflow because we want to make it a seamless workflow. What we are looking at is that if it's not necessary that a inside sales or a job manager touches the job, don't do it. Just let it go through a system automatically because what we see is some of our customers have jobs that are in a value of 50 euros. If you have to do anything manually on those kind of jobs, we all know that this job will not make money for you. So it's very important to integrate this workflow in there as well. Then go to the stock. It's of course the stock of your substrates, but also stock of finished goods and half substrates, etc. in there. Go to the planning, also very important, just to know how your capacity is in there, how you can change your planning accordingly to make your production machines as effective as possible. Go into registering, you have to calculate the job costing, which is very important to see if the things you calculate are also right, and necessarily you can change them towards that. Go to print and delivery, very, very important. We see that in a lot of cases, a lot of printing companies become more and more companies that just produce, of course, print, but also you need to deliver it in different ways to their customers. I spoke to one of the larger printing houses in the Netherlands 2 years ago, and he told me, well, Robert, we are a logistic provider that prints. That's a different point of view, mind you. And we know that there's a lot of time consumption into getting the shipment out there, and we also connect that to, for example, Enshift and CloudSend and SendCloud, etc. So it's very important that you also do that integrated within your software. Shipment and installation, Of course, invoicing, and we don't have our own accounting system. We don't believe in that we should have that, but it's completely integrated into our software. So we have a financial converter that converts, I think at the moment, to almost 200 different financial systems within Europe to not only do sales invoicing towards that, but also get the payments back and also do the purchase invoicing directly towards the financial system. And of course, at the end, we do a lot of thinking, analyzing, and reporting by using dashboards and report generators. If you look at our software, it's always very difficult to show what is all in there. And a few years ago, we invented this to show it like a subway network. And what you see in a subway network, what you want to go from point A to point B as soon and as efficient as possible. And that's also what we see. We see actually like 7 different lines. So CRM at the left side, estimation, finance, production, e-business, expedition, and planning. And all these lines go through, and they all have substations and stations in between. And what is very, very good is that a lot of these functions, features are within our software ourselves, but we also connect to other softwares. And there it's important that if you connect like the same in a subway network, you want the right connection. And it means in forms of Multipress that you don't want to lose data. You want to key in data once and use it many. So that's for us very important that all these points where you have to connect to a different line, that you still keep your data, enhance it, and go further and get back to the line as well if necessary. And also there, of course, I just said to you, we don't have everything in our own software, but also connect to the other workflows. And what is very important there, just connecting to what Morten was talking about in the presentation before this one, is that you not only have all these connections, but a lot of them, as you see here, are also what we call partners, and they are certified partners, which means that these companies also have a Multipress running on their side, on their development side, so they can test if they have new updates or new releases, that the connection is still working. It's not only that the connection should work today, but it also should work tomorrow and for years on. That's also important. So not only make the connection, but also make sure that the connection is up and running always, because it directly goes into your production. You don't want any hassle up in your production nowadays, in the meantime, to the margins we have in this market. So, okay, I think it was just a short, brief introduction on Dataline and Multipress. I'll now give the floor to my colleague, Christoph Krohn, who will go through a different products calculation in our software, and also show you more of the backend and also go into a job. So, Christoph, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Robert. I will try to share my screen. Is that succeeded?
Yes, it is.
You see Multipress now? Great. So I'm very happy to take you with me today in a more in-depth demo of Multipress. I thought the focus was more particular on calculation. So it's our goal to not only give a global overview of the software, but also show you some specific cases. We didn't choose for the normal commercial print cases. We try to go a little bit further because we have a large scope and we have a large range of different products that we can calculate with Multipress. You see our main screen, as Robert already mentioned, it is a complete modular system. So we have 8 menus, and those 8 menus on the right side activate every time again different modules. So we're one standard software. This is very important, but we can build a Multipress based on your needs. We have therefore a very interesting software, which is our MAS software, where we try to put every process that you have actually today in your company, and based on the result that gets out of this MAS software, we can say which are now the modules that you really need to start with, or to go into phase 2, phase 3, and so on. So this is something that we try to do together with the product specialists and the business developers in our company, and to create the right Multipress on the right spot. If we put the focus on calculation, I think it's important, if we go to the general menu, what do we need if we want to calculate? We need prospects, we need customers. So we have those in our relation database. This relation database is an overview of every contact that we have. Just to mention, I showed today a hard client. We have the same thing in a soft client. That means that also salespeople who are on the road, for example, are able to open up this relation data. And for example, if they have a contact information that they want to put in, if they want to put in a visit report of the last visit they had, it's very easy to put it in and have all those information in a centralized database. It's not only calculation, sometimes it's not only the offer, but it's also the work that comes with this offer and the follow-up of this offer, where I will, at the end of this demo, also come back if we talk about our BI software, our BI tool, to help those people to say, what do we have to do every day? Another very important USP, and it's sometimes something that we forget to mention, is if we want to send an offer to the customer, we need templates, we need layouts, we need a way of presenting it to the customer. And I want to mention this because I know that we're pretty particular in this one. Every template that we can have in our system, so for every layout that leaves the company, goes to customer or suppliers, we have a tool where you can create this template completely yourself. It is not development from our side. We teach you, we learn you how to use this tool, and that means that everybody is completely free to build this template as he wants to do. You will see that it's very near to a regular Word document. The only difference is if you open up the View tab and you click on a gray field, that you see that some variables are put in on this layout, and that makes sometimes the difference that if you want to mention, for example, the holidays on the offer, or if you want to change something, of you want a layout with the price per piece or a layout with the price per square meters, that the customer is able to do that completely himself. And it's not only the layout, it's also the mail where you send the offer with, or the PDF file that comes after the offer, is something that that is completely possible to personalize in a way as the customer wants. And it doesn't need every time again our support or our development team to change something on his Multipress environment. It is really something that we don't mention every time again, but once that a customer starts with Multipress, we see that it is something which is appreciated a lot. So it's very important to show you that today. The second thing that we do then is we collect parameters. I think every competitor of this webinar today does the same thing. There's a huge, not huge, but there's a work that we do together with the customer. We have for that a Multipress Bible where we ask the customer, what are the machines you have? So for every type of machine that we have, these are our micro parameters. It's the operation parameters. It's also the parameters where we compare the company, where we afterwards do the analysis on. And together with the customer, we will fill in all those parameters. So for every type of machine, whether it's an offset machine, or it's a screen print machine, or it's in the digital world, large and small format machine, we are able to fill in all those machines. And in every of these machines, we start with a cost and a selling price, so that afterwards, when I come to the examples, I can show you really the margin and the win that we have on every calculation that we've made. So to have a real perspective on which are our good or bad jobs, where are we good in. Further in the demo, I will show you a quick view of also the post calculation, which is, in my eyes, one of the most important parts of an ERP system, or an MIS system if you want. So that really we're able to make decision not only on the stomach feeling, but also on a black and white proof on paper. If we're ready with those parameters, in our process, there's a testing period where together with the customer, we take old calculations and we transform them into new based calculations with the new ERP system. And for today, as I said, we have a wide range of a lot of examples that are possible. I prepared, let's say, 3 calculations. We will look at a booklet, which is printed in a digital environment. We will look at a textile frame, which is then more in the corner of the large format world, where I will show you some specific features which helps me a lot in those variable dimensions issue. And to end with, I will also show you today, and that's something which is rather new in our environment, the possibility to print, to calculate a hardcover book. And it's not the printing part which is new, which is very logical, but a hardcover book has some specific features as calculating the cardboard for the cover and so on. So for that, we created now a complete flow to calculate this in a very consistently way. So let's start with the calculation of the booklet part. If I go to the calculation module and we open up a new calculation, then you will see that a new number has been chosen, and I can choose here the customer, and I can say what I want to calculate, and also give a reference of our customer. And doing a calculation is, we do that here in the part underneath, where we have the possibility to calculate more than one sub-calculation in one calculation number. A good example is a project-based calculation where we have some, for example, not only the booklet, but also, for example, the textile frame that has to be offered together to the customer. So this gives me the possibility to, on a project base, do more than one product in one offer and present it also to the customer in a very clear way on his offer document. If I go to my wizard calculation, which is in fact the flow that over 90% of our customers use now, there's in the background, and I will come later in this demo to that, there's a sort of configurator where we can define the perfect flow of every product. We can fill in the information of this booklet manually, but very important, as Robert also mentioned, we are able to work based on PDF files. So we have PDF Toolbox integrated, but even without PDF Toolbox, we have a first pre-flight, a first check of every file that we can integrate in Multipress. I can do that manually as I do now, but it can also be a document that comes from our B2B environment, and that somebody asks me the price for this document. More than that, a customer is even able to do that himself on the B2B platform. And I will end up this demonstration with also showing our e-calculator, where we got a prize, an EDP award with, where people out of the company, customers even, are able to use exactly the same technology as I use now, so that we put a part of the task at his side, and there we can even decide if he sees price yes or no. But he prepares, in fact, with the tool as I shown in this demo, already a huge part of the work himself. So if I import here a sample file, and I will go to, I have here a document, which is in this case our magazine, you will see that the file is imported. If I have it already in calculation, I can do that. And I'm able to see here the exact information. And if I want to go further in this, I can even go directly into a PDF Toolbox and do a check of this information and see if there are errors that could eventually give problems if I produce, which is in this case not at all the case. So if I then import the information of this file, you will see that a part of this PDF information is already filled in our wizard. And the only thing that I have to do is make some choice. And I'd say, okay, this is now a booklet. Based on the number of pages, he already makes a filter on different products. I can choose the paper that I want to put on the cover. I can choose where I want to print it, with which quality, which paper for the interior part, for the body. I can decide if I want to do it inline or external horizon finishing. I can decide to put it in a box, and I can put in the number, or I can let it calculate by Multipress himself. And just giving this information and clicking on enter gives me in the background a complete technical calculation of every component that we need. You will see later on in this demo that the logic that we put in behind is really a logic between different operations, where one information is given back to the second one. And like this, he will build a complete technical calculation, if you want. Not only technical, also the checklist as we know it in our Multipress world, which is in fact the description where we communicate to the customer, is filled in based on the information of the wizard. We have a pre-press calculation, we have a digital part calculation where we have a cover and a body part. So this is very technical calculated, because this information we will need later on if we want to go, for example, to GDF connections with production part. We have a finishing part. We have, for example, also the subcontractors part if something is not done internally. And for this first demo, I will give the part of the price a little bit more time, because there you will see that we have a complete overview of the quantities that we calculated, the pre-press digital and finishing part. We can have some selling costs supplementary. We can have a calculation of the transport costs. That is what Robert mentioned in the beginning. The last years, we feel more and more that this part becomes very important. And you can not only say, I want to calculate based on weight and kilometers. No, you want other parameters to play on this part. So we're now able on this delivery method calculation to involve more than only those two parameters and calculate very quickly the price of my own calculation, my own delivery or delivery of a subcontractor. And then to end up this screen, and this for every case, we get a total inclusive margins and surcharges. We're always able to play with this price around. You know that the let's say the most important calculation is the most important side issue. It's important, has to go very fast, but it has to be very consistently. And we are all confronted with questions like how your colleague does it for this price and so on. So you're always able to play around with this price. And if you play around, we give the right information to show you what is the margin and what is the added value we still have on this calculation, so that we don't stay somewhere in the dark, but we show it on one screen. Is that worth doing it? Yes or no? Or could we play around? You see that the margin here is 2%, but if we give the customer 10% discount, then we still see what is now in the background calculated, and is it worth doing this, yes or no? So then this first calculation has been made, and we're able now to print this calculation. That means that, coming back on the first topic that I shown this morning, or this beginning this demo, which was in the morning, we can choose a layout, like I show now the quotation layout, and the document will present himself on screen. And every variable, as I showed it in the beginning, is now filled in with the information that comes from the calculation himself. So just clicking on the email button and a personalized email is created. A PDF background is put in the background, and I sent this calculation to my customer. So this is a first simple case, but a case based on this PDF file, which is a very important feature that we have integrated in Multipress. If we go back to this calculation and we imagine that, for example, the same customer asks me to also calculate a textile frame because he wants to have additional products in his project, why not? Then I'm, for example, in the same way, able to add in this screen a second calculation. And I'm, for example, again with the wizard, I can now say that the customer asks price for one textile frame. I will choose a product textile frame. I will give in the information, and just to show you how technical we calculate also in the large format part, if I do like this, and I will say this is not the booklet, but the textile frame with a certain name if you want. Then also here I'm able to ask on what will we print that, with what quality will we print that, and very specifically in the large format world, we can have here some recipes of possible finishing that we could have after the printing part. And also here, the information in the background is passed through from the printing part to the calculation of the finishing part. So for example, if some operations are playing with the surrounding of the printing part, if some operations are based on the number of tiles that he calculates in the calculation part, or for example, number of pieces, the information will be used and will pass through and will be used to calculate exactly what we calculate in the finishing. I choose now more than one thing. I have different operations that I want to keep as an option. I can also have one line where in the background different things are already linked, but that I will come later on in the calculation wizard configuration. If we print on enter, you will see that also here the calculation is done, and the digital part will show me, in this case, how the model is printed on the roll, in this case on a latex printer. And as you see, why the model is too big, so he knows how many tiles we need. So that will influence directly not only my make ready time, but also my production time, my ink consumption, and so on. So every of this information is completely linked. And in the finishing part, also there you will see that I have aluminum tubes which are calculated. So not only the operation of the aluminum tubes, but based on the surrounding, we will see how many of these tubes we need. We need a mounting feet, in this case, not a parameter of surrounding. So I hope you understand with this demo how we configure in the background all this information, and that brings me back to the same price overview where we have information as I showed in the beginning. That means also if I print this layout of this quotation out, that then in this case we have one document where the two products are on. I can play around with. I can say which one do I want to mask, which one do I want to put on the first position, and so on. So this is a possibility. Or I can have an offer with a global total where we show both products and only one price. So these are the two first examples that I want later on in this demo show you how we transform it into job and come then into the planning and to the invoicing and so on. Another case which is perhaps for today interesting to show you in the calculation part is the calculation of a hardcover book, because lately we had some big evolution in this one, because more and more of our customers ask for that. What is so particular on the hardcover book is that you have different components in this book, but they don't have the same dimensions. And we know that the cover has some extra dimensions. We know that the cardboard for the cover is then again a little bit smaller. So we created also there in the background the possibility now with the wizard, and this is so important. You do it in a very easy way. If you take, for example, a hardcover book of 241 pages, because the cover is a one-page spread, then you will see that in this wizard we have the possibility to have more than one component. And if I choose here then on which I want to print my cover, on what do I want to print the end and the front paper, and also I can change the printing part, or on what do I want to print the interior part for 0, then I can have here hardcover finishing. And you will see that in the background, not only the calculation of the printing is made, but if you go into the calculation where it's logical that you have all those components and all those different folding sheets, you also have in the post-processing the possibility to have an automatic cardboard calculation where he takes in count a parameter that we have implemented, and where he calculates automatically not only those cardboard, but also the complete finishing part of creating the cases, activating the book line, and so on. So hardcover books nowadays are with Multipress something that we can very easily calculate with every component that we need. So this is for the 3 cases. If I want to show you a little bit where we set up those calculation engine, and I go further in the settings to job administration, you will see that here we can configure, and I didn't mention it at the beginning, but it still is an open structure. So everybody is able to create this flow as he wants. And we're able here to say, okay, I want, for example, the textile frames. On what do I want to print it? What are the finishing ways? In which machine do I prefer to print that? Do I have pre-press actions? So everybody is able to define this product configurator so that it's not only calculating fast, as I said, but also consistently. A Monday morning or a Friday evening should give me the same price. It has to go very fast sometimes, and it's a pity, but the days of ordering without price mentioning are far back again now. So we have to have a tool where it's able that everybody can calculate very easily. That's for calculation. The only thing that I want to explain more in this calculation is the e-calculator. It's important to know that the complete structure of the wizard and how we build it is also something which is open for an API. So people who have, for example, their own web-to-print tool or their own B2B business tool, they're able to use this technology to give the same price online as a calculator does internally. And this is important because we all know how fast prices are changing. Look at the basic materials as a printing material, for example. The last few years were a nightmare. So if a price of a material changes, you don't want to have an extra maintaining of prices on a web-to-print tool. So having this e-calculator gives me the possibility to use the same parameters as the ERP, but also in a flexible way. And I think I have an example open here from the customer DWC print, where we know that in the background, choosing here the flyers and choosing here the type of flyer, everything that is shown here comes directly out of the ERP. So that means also if an operation changes price or a material changes price, I am pretty sure that I calculate with the right price, because this price comes out of my ERP. And this is a very important thing in this world where things are evolving every day again. Another thing what I want to mention about this wizard, and we have already a few communities that are using that, is that if I go back into my calculation part and I open up my booklet, imagine that I don't decide to calculate myself, but I want to go to my partner, my colleague, which is specialized in large format, and I'm more a commercial print company. I am able in the subcontractor part to choose, in fact, a printing company which is organized with the wizard technology. And then I am able to click on the online button and I go directly into the wizard technology of my colleague. So I use, in fact, the parameters of my colleague to introduce directly in my Multipress. I give it my information like I did in the beginning from this demo. And you will see that calculating on the price button gives me, if I choose a paper, sorry for that, brochure, and I will go to 200 grams. I don't know how like this. Okay, but he gives me the price directly into Multipress, and then the only thing that I have to do is fill in the additional value, and then I calculate with the price of my colleague. I don't know why I had now this little issue, but it's always like that. Does this in live demos, so I will check later on. So that's for, let's say, the calculation part. I see that the time is running very fast. So let's jump into the follow-up of a calculation. So imagine that a customer now orders one of the products that I calculated. I will go into the job administration. I will transform a job or a pre-calculation into a job. And there we have extra choices like using old jobs or even starting from scratch, why not? And then you will see that choosing, for example, the booklet plus textile, I am able to say, okay, the customer won't order the textile and he only goes for the 2000 booklets. And then the calculation in 2 clicks is transformed from a calculation to an order or a job. A lot of our customers use also a project layer where they're able to have different products in different jobs, but still linked with one project number, so that they're able to look, for example, at the moment of delivery, are there some products which are still open to deliver? We can, for sure, we are an ERP software, we can reserve time in the planning, so we can push this information in the planning. We can make a reservation of material. We have an overview of everything that we have in this job, and or he will reserve it in the stock, or he will put it on the list of the to purchase things. So these are the two links to the different processes which are very specific for an ERP software. And you will see that in the background, he has pushed then this job into the planning tool, where we see a configuration of a planning interface as we want to. So everything you see is completely free to define as you want. So going further into this list on job administration, you will find an expedition planning where we know what should be delivered on what time. You can slide here the things from the upper part to the neither part, and then announce it to one of your expedition partners that something is ready. We will have some modules which are linked to the stock module, where you can not only purchase things, but then afterwards also say there are delivered goods and we want to put it in the stock module. And then to end up, we have an invoice, and we can, in this part, make the invoice of our job. So if I click on a new, I am able to manually create an invoice part based on a job. But we also, as we have a lot of digital environments with a lot of small jobs, we're able to automatically invoice. So if jobs has achieved some statuses as it is delivered or it is ready for invoicing, then we can click on the auto button, and he will create completely automatically grouped invoices of different products for different customers in one action, a gain of time, which is enormous, which is very big. And then to end up this demo, we can go also to our management module. it is also the same case in at Multipress, that we don't do accountancy software. So we will push the information of the invoices via a financial export to the accounting software. Because we're in different companies, it is not always easy to support that for every company yourself. So we have a converter where, depending on which accounting software there is, we can build any connection directly to the accounting software. And sometimes also the financial import is important, because you want to have an overview of every unpaid entry, and you want that your order manager gets a remark if there's some customer which has not paid his invoices for a long time. So there you have an overview in the customer base of what is still open, and do we need a credit limit on this customer. So the interaction is very, very important. And then to end up in our management module, I think for every MIS, like I told at the first case I showed today, it is important not only to show how expensive is the product, but also in the background a lot of information of what do we need to make the good decisions. You see it in the management module that we have a lot of basic management modules which are already created once in a project. We also have a very open report generator where people are able to create their own report. So sometimes a customer has a good idea of creating his own, let's say, management module to look at and to say, okay, I have a good or a bad week. So in this case, they're able to create this list themselves. So the complete database is open. They have every field, every information in Multipress to use in this tool. And the last years, we also integrated, and that's why I explain it, with this complete report generator in our own dashboard tool. So we did not decide to use an external tool. We found this very interesting to have it in Multipress themselves, because then you're able to use these reports and to present them in a way as you want. And that makes it, again, very open. That makes it very clear to work with. People are able to build their own reports in a way they want to. More than that, the report and the dashboard generator is also used as a, let's say, more as a to-do, as a task environment, where, for example, they can create lists for every operator to say which are the files, which are the jobs where I don't have file, which are the calculations, for example, where because I did not hear the customer for longer than 2 days. And this to-do tool is not only a list, it is also an interface, because I can double-click directly from the dashboard, and I can go into the interface, do my action, and then, in fact, I clean up every day the list of things to do in a very, very easy way. More than that, we have a lot of customers that open up first the dashboard, and then they go into the Multipress modules, because it gives them a better idea of how to work and on what do I have to work today. So I went perhaps a little bit fast through the other modules, but sorry for that. But I think the focus was also on the engine, on the calculation engine. So therefore, I started and I put the biggest part of the demo for today on those 3 cases. But I think you know that we're very happy to show also the other modules if you want in a further demonstration.
I'm blown away as always when I see Multipress from you guys. It seems like I do understand why you really want to push that software to the European market, or the global market at some point, but because it seems that you have a lot of considerations in what is valuable for a PSP. I couldn't help thinking about when you did the demo, Christoph. I saw a little Mac icon so it's a client and it works on both Mac and PC.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a mixed environment software. So, and you don't see any difference between the Mac or the Windows interface. Even if it's a hard client, it's logical in a web-based environment, but even the hard client doesn't has differences on that.
Because I asked the same question to Matthias, so I'm a little bit curious about. So if you look at the approach of Dataline, what size of companies are you looking for the most?
It's difficult to say just a certain.
I think you are muted, Robert.
Yeah, Robert, I think you have
Yeah,
a.
or sound issue.
I think there's a sound issue. I, I think we can, while Robert is looking for that, I think we can cover from small companies to bigger companies. We don't prefer as we have a completely modular structure. There's a lot of, let's say, 5 to 10 people companies which are working with Multipress, and that goes to 100, 150 users. So we can, like I told in the beginning, based on our MIS, so our MAS software, we make an analysis of the company, and then we create a Multipress on their needs. So even on the commercial part, it is not an overinvestment that they do. It has no need to tell a bazooka to kill a fly. It's if it's only calculation, then it's only the calculation part which is important, and the rest can come later. And to be honest, we saw that in the past. The small companies of today can be the big ones of tomorrow. So
That's true.
we do the evolution together with them, and that makes it so important.
Being a client-based service, I mean, I take that are you hosted online or are you hosted locally, or can it be both?
It is the customer who chooses. We have Robert. Are you back on the?
I think so. Can you hear me or not?
No,
Not
it's
very, very, very weak. Yeah.
I think it's the customer who chooses. If he doesn't want to do hardware investments, he can put complete installation in the cloud, and then he has his server environment also cloud-based. We have a few examples of that. But as the difference is, and I hope I showed that a little bit with the integration on PDF Toolbox on calculation. But you understand that on the order part, it becomes even more important. So swinging around a PDF file every time again from on-site to cloud and back, because today the topic was not GDF connections or workflow
No.
connections. The topic was more calculation.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
for this part, I think it's important to have it sometimes on-site also.
Totally. And the reason I'm asking is and we are running out of time, unfortunately. But the reason I'm asking is because, I mean, a lot of printing companies today seem to go into like environments with APIs and integration of parts of the solutions, because then they can basically build services based on their needs. So does that mean that you can still support people in that? I mean, you have a lot of integration points, of course, but does it mean that you also have an API so people can use the software and integrate it to other services that you have maybe not done yourself?
I think surviving nowadays without API is not possible. That there's the questions of integrating in so many different tools. Like I said, the calculation is the most important side issue. You want to calculate fast, and but then again, after calculation, the whole production part. People are so aware of what is possible today. The information is there. So the answer is yes, 3 times yes. The API is for sure one of the most important modules that we have today, but comes also together with a good analysis, and that's sometimes the biggest issue: putting a dream on paper. So also there we help our customers. We try to assist them as much as possible, because you cannot create a Word document with an Excel. That's not possible. You have to use the right tools at the right moment. And therefore, I think our experience is, next to the software, also one of the most important things.
And with that said, guys, we have the QR code. So if people want to get in touch with you, are welcome to scan the code to get to your LinkedIn profiles. And we have already our guests from CERM. I mean, it seems that workflow and MIS systems, and is it something in the water in the Benelux, or what is it? I mean, everything comes from there, right? But I just want to thank you both for a very engaging introduction and also demo of Multipress. As always, I'm very impressed about it. So thank you, guys, and we will just play a little jingle, and then we will be back with CERM in just 2 minutes. Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye-bye.